KSU Gold. This show is being brought to you by Kentucky State University's College of Agriculture, Food Science, and Sustainable Systems in partnership with the Frankfurt Kiwanis Club. My name is Lindsay McGaha. I'm a media manager here at Kentucky State University, and I'm your host. And on this show, we give our viewers a peek of our faculty, our staff, and our students and their efforts to continue our golden legacy of achievement here at Kentucky State University. On today's show, we will speak with Jennifer Hubbard Sanchez, a state specialist, and Dr. Lee Whittinghill, who will discuss urban agriculture and tips on how to garden in your very own backyard. But first, we'll turn our attention to Mrs. Sanchez.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, I mentioned earlier that you were a state specialist. What is a state specialist, and what do you do here at Kentucky State University?
So within the land grant program, there is a designation of state specialist, and those are content experts in different areas. We have state specialists for family and consumer science, specialists in agriculture, and in my case, I serve as a state specialist for sustainable systems. What that means really is somebody that looks at sustainability in all of its different elements. My main focus, of course, is environmental sustainability and sort of human dependence and impacts on the physical environment.
Who do you typically work with? Is it high school students, college students, youth, or the general public?
So I'm really lucky. I feel very fortunate in my job because no day is like the day before. I work with lots of different people. So in the traditional specialist role, one would work with a lot of county agents and train those county agents in a specific content area and be able to work with them to get the information out into the communities. I do some of that. I do work with our agents and with agents from the University of Kentucky as well, and train them on different environmental education curricula, ways to teach other people about the environment. But beyond that, I work a lot sort of at three different levels. Level one, I would say, is kind of directly with youth and adults in many cases, teaching them about the environment. And that's maybe my favorite part, although sometimes it gets a little hectic when you have 50 or 100 kids. One day we had 75 kids out at our environmental ed center, and that maybe was a little bit much for one day, but that direct work with youth, teaching them, doing different activities and lessons on environmental education in a direct manner. The next level, I would say, is working with school teachers, other natural resource professionals, and training them in order to give them the tools to better teach about the environment. So people that work with kids, people that work with others and train others, in my state specialist role, I'm able to train those folks. And then at a third level, I also work with other leaders in the environmental education field in the state of Kentucky. So I currently serve as the chair of the Kentucky Association for Environmental Education. I'm on the Kentucky University Partnership for Environmental Education board. And so I get to work with other leaders in the field to kind of, I don't want to say oversee, but really guide and shape the direction of our field in the state of Kentucky. So it's really neat. It's kind of a multi-level project.
Wow. Well, what are some of the environmental challenges that we face here in Kentucky?
Environmental challenges in Kentucky. They're like anywhere. There are several. I would say, a lot of kind of the main ones would be air quality issues, air pollution, especially in our cities. And then water issues. Kentucky does have a lot of water issues. We have a lot of problems with contaminated waterways. We have a lot of beautiful rivers and lakes and streams, and unfortunately a lot of those are assessed as impaired waterways for many different reasons, as well as flooding issues. I think there's not one Kentuckian that would say we don't have a problem with flooding. That really is a big environmental issue in our state. So I would say air and water are some of our biggest problems.
Well, you mentioned water, and one of the big fads that's out is drinking water from a bottle. There are so many different types of bottled water, whether it's purified water or mineral water or even spring water. Mm-hmm. Do you recommend drinking water from a bottle or bottled water, or is it safe to drink unfiltered tap water?
Sure. So part of what I do, I'm going to be very honest, is, environmental education is not advocacy. So I will never tell somebody this is what you should or should not do. My job is to educate people on the science behind things and on the facts and not opinions. But if you want my opinion, and if somebody were to ask for my opinion, I drink water from the tap all the time. A lot of people don't know, but bottled water that, you buy at the grocery store, that is not really assessed as often. Our municipal water sources, they've got to be tested on a regular basis, whereas the water that you buy in a bottle comes from a factory that's not tested on a weekly basis, for example, by the FDA. So when people ask me that question, I say, if you think bottled water is better for you, you're probably scientifically not correct, number one. But number two, the energy and the resources that go into the plastic of that water bottle, as well as the transport of it, also have further environmental impacts. So I would always say stick with tap water, but that's kind of a hard sell for a lot of people.
Well, when you think environment, sometimes you think energy.
Of course.
I think they go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
And I know you work with a lot of people in the community to talk a lot about ways that they can save energy in their homes. Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give to homeowners or renters on ways that they could lessen the amount of energy that they use with their home appliances?
Yeah, so, the first thing is really simple, just turn it off. I think, and I include myself in this, a lot of times we're really lazy. People have hard lives, we're busy, we're exhausted. Who wants to have to walk all over the house and turn the lights off? But, again, it's not an advocacy thing, but an education thing. Everybody's trying to save money, and why would you leave your lights on? You're the one that's paying those bills. So anything that you're not using, turn it off. I know I drive my family crazy. I'm the one that always unplugs the microwave because even though you're not using it, the light that's still on there, you're paying for that.
I never thought to do that.
When you're gone all day
Wow.
for 12 hours a day, you are using energy simply to have a light on your microwave. So turning things off that you're not using, unplugging your cell phone charger, that it's called vampire energy, and that's, even though your phone's not plugged into it, your charger is still pulling energy. So turning things off, number one. Number two, kind of looking around your house at efficiency. There are groups that will come in, and we've actually partnered with some of them to do trainings for homeowners on how to make your home the most efficient. So winterizing your home in the summertime, air conditioning. Your house does not need to be 70 degrees right now while you're here at work. So when you leave for the day, turn it up to 78, and then when you walk in the door, turn it back down to a temperature that's more comfortable for you, and vice versa. In winter months, if it's really cold outside and you want the heat up, well, you don't need your house to be 78 degrees in the winter if you're here at work, so turn it down before you leave and then turn it back up. Things like that we really have worked a lot with different organizations to kind of train people on. Number one, it's really good for your wallet. Like, that's the main message, is you're going to save money, and then kind of the byproduct is it's also going to have a really good impact on the environment.
I like it. You mentioned earlier the Environmental Education Research Center. Mm-hmm. And what is that? Many people don't know that Kentucky State has it. So what is it, and when did we get access to it?
So KSU owns a 307-acre property out in Henry County, Kentucky. It's probably about 30 minutes from here, from close to downtown Frankfort. And it is a 307-acre forest that it is an environmental education and research center. KSU has had that since 2005. I now, as part of my job here at KSU, manage that center in partnership with Mr. William Baker, who is located out there all day, every day. And what we do there, we've got a fishing pond, we've got a beautiful creek, we've got hiking trails, you name it. It's just sort of kind of a hidden, just a very hidden, precious place. But we are working really hard to bring community groups and school groups. This year we've had over 500 kids, adults, you name it, that have come out there for educational opportunities at the center.
Now, for short, I call it the EERC. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to refer to it
and
that
way.
And
that is fine.
But what types of groups would you say would be interested in visiting the EERC?
So during the school year, we do work a lot with formal classroom teachers. So teachers will call me and ask me, I'm teaching a biology class, and these are the educational standards that I'm working on. Can you all tailor activities to help me meet those standards? And so during the school year, we work a lot with formal classroom teachers. In the summertime, we work a lot with, we've worked with Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We've worked with a lot of different summer camps So either those that are through the local school system or ones that are just kind of more informal. We've worked with the homeschool group. Any groups, church groups. We have a lot of groups from KSU that have gone out there for different purposes. So it really is a place for everybody, and it's a place that hopefully more people will know about and will be interested in coming out to.
Well, I think the biggest question is it free?
Yes, it is free. Everything that we do out there is free.
All right, well, sounds good. Listen, you all stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to hear how Kentucky State University's Small Farm Grant is helping the Russellville Urban Garden Project. And we'll also take a trip to Wilson's Nursery, where we'll learn a few tips on home gardening.